Gentlemen, welcome back to another Fellowship of Fans stream. In today's stream, we are going to be breaking down what tiers we believe each of the characters belong in, and it's just our opinions. It's not facts, except for the dwarves. It's just our opinions. But welcome everybody, and welcome to the other panelist. Hen, how's it going?
I'm doing the side of it again, so that is to say that I'm completely lost. And that would also explain all the commercials in foreignese, also known as Hebrew here.
Well, they look good though. Strider, you looking awesome today. How's it going, man?
I feel, almost as awesome. That sounded way too complicating, well, whatever. Yeah, it's been a cool weekend. I'm very happy to be here. It's been a while since we had one of these. It's going to be a lot of fun, I think. I think this is going to be a really cool discussion, so I'm very excited to hear what everybody thinks about this.
It definitely feels like we have not done one of these in a while, and it's great to have everybody back on. And lastly on the panel, obviously everybody's favorite person on the panel, Lakithia, how are you?
Hi, I'm very well now, but I was very confused there for a moment because I heard double sounds and I couldn't figure out what was happening, what was wrong. It turns out I just had a YouTube channel open as well. So, slow clap to myself. It's very late in the evening. So that's how this is going to go today.
Yep, just got to mute that extra tab. And thank you to everybody in the audience for being here with us today. And if you disagree with where we have some folks slotted, blame Harry for that. And we'll just kind of go from there. So
blame him. It's not here, yeah.
Perfect.
Anybody who's
that turned out well.
It's easiest to blame them.
Yes,
but
penguins.
We will go ahead and start with some of folks' more favorite characters or some of the main characters. I think Robert Arameo is up for a whole bunch of awards. So let's go ahead with Strider. Where would you slot Elrond in terms of tier A through E or D?
I mean,
okay.
it's... Yeah.
Hang on. Can we just set some ground rules? So what are we basing this on? This is mainly how well the character worked, right? We're not judging the performances here, but we're judging like the whole deal, the whole package, their story, how well the character worked, like the whole deal, right?
Everything all together in one. Just your opinion on it.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, like basically, of course, it goes the story, the portrayal, and all, like the acting part and all that goes together. But like it's like the main product. Like, were they awesome and fun to be on the screen or not? Like in that sense, like did we feel? I guess like kind of like that.
Yeah, the finished article. Yeah.
Yeah. So Elrond is. I didn't have the chance to think all of this through completely, but I think I'm gonna have 3 people in the top tier, and Elrond is easily up there. So A tier for me. I really loved Elrond. Was one of my favorite characters. Robert Romeo killed it, nailed it, absolutely amazing. So he was fun. The storylines he was a part of, there was like a back and forth there, but he was consistently fun. It was really cool to see this version of Elrond that he is described as like this super nice, gentle the king of elder days or something like that in the Council of Elrond chapter, or like the many meetings, and it was nice to see this portrayal in comparison to Hugo Weaving's portrayal in the Lord of the Rings, which I also loved, but this one was a very nice, refreshing touch to it, and A tier for me.
Does anybody actually disagree with Elrond being in A tier? I see the audience comments from YouTube coming in, and I see some A's in there as well.
I would actually place him in B tier. I felt that he was fine, but I wouldn't say he went all the way up to the top for me. He was just a little bit, and people are gonna crucify me for this. Please don't, or go ahead, why not? He was a little bit bland for me, and I understand that's the way the character is supposed to work. But altogether, I would place him in B tier. He wasn't quite top of the top for me. So, yeah. But I'm happy if you guys put him in A tier,
Well, then, we've got an A and a B. Hen, where do you fall on the Elrond line?
I fall strongly on the A. I think Elrond is. If this was the Elrond show with Elrond as the main character, I would watch the hell out of it. I love that. Yeah, I can see how in a way it's bland because he doesn't like struggle with anything internally too much or anything, but at the same time he's also not the goody two shoes. Like he is a little bit not duplicitous exactly, but he's like he has his goals and he's striving in order to get them, and will say what he will say that will get him there, and yet he does it in contrast to other characters. Which we'll get to. He does it, kind of gracefully and stuff. It's in the writing, but it's also in the performance, and the end result for me, except for some of the plot lines that he has to exposit later on, that certainly hurts it. But otherwise, I find it I just like it. I enjoy it very much.
And I will not be the tiebreaker here. I also believe Elrond is at a B plus, but when we have the system set up the way we do, that needs to round up to an A. And I think Elrond does deserve his A. There's only a couple moments with him on screen where it wasn't amazing, and I think it was nice for once for me personally to have an elf on screen consistently that it was easy for me to enjoy and appreciate. So shout out to Robert Arameo as Elrond. He killed it. And Hen, I think you can go ahead and throw him up in that A tier officially.
All right, I'm the one doing that. Wait a minute, everybody. Elrond, where are you?
Down, down, down. One of the last ones. There
Not
he
in
is.
Goblin Town,
Look for
right?
the handsome one.
Third from the right. You already passed him by.
Keep going to the right, next to Disa.
Next to Disa. Oh, all right, that's Elrond. Yeah.
Boom, and that is absolutely where he belongs. Let's go with somebody I see in the middle. Let's go with. Oh man, I hate to do this so soon. Let's go with Kemen. And Hen, this time let's start with you on Kemen. Where do you think he falls? A
Oh
through?
wow.
Yeah.
That's a tricky one. I don't have any reason to dislike Kemen particularly. I didn't think it was like a bad performance or anything. And I did enjoy, we saw him in one episode and we were thinking, oh, there's the slimy son of the villain kind of thing. And then in the second, and kind of like, trying to lure Eärien. And then in the second episode, I was pleasantly surprised he seems to actually like her. And he's working against his father's wishes in order to satiate or help her. So I find that good. But at the same time, there's so little of Kemen in this. So little. It's hard to judge. I'm wavering between a C and a D here. I'll put it in a C for me. Like, there's nothing bad about it for me. It's just so little of it. It barely makes an impression.
Let's go with Lakitia. What do you have to say on Kemen?
First of all, I just want to say that I see that in the chat, Priscilla has some really strong opinions. She's saying Kemen is the worst. I will have to agree with that.
Yeah, I know.
To a degree, I think he's again, I'm gonna say the same thing. He's a bit bland, and he's not very well written, in my opinion. I think his portrayal is quite nice, actually. I think Leon Wadham did a great job, but as a character, all in all, I think there's lots of potential. He might be more interesting down the line, but as of yet, he was just one of the least compelling characters for me, so I would put him in D. And in this part, I just want to say that we have two D tiers, if you see.
Yeah.
So maybe if we can just rename the last one to E.
Can I do that? Just let me try. Oh, I think I can.
There we go.
Being the boss
My
is
man.
fun.
So yeah, it's an E for me, actually.
Oh
So
wow.
we've got one D and one E. Strider, where do you fall on that line with Kemen's haircut?
Well, I'm kind of jealous of the haircut, obviously. But yeah, he definitely liked the screen time. I think like the little things we saw. I mean, as they just said, there's definitely potential down the line. He seems like a not one-dimensional character, but I think he is, one of the people who who definitely suffered from a lot of stuff getting cut on the floor. So he's like a D tier, I would say. I wouldn't say E because like I cannot say he's that bad because I just didn't see enough of it. But he definitely was not memorable at all because of not having screen time. So yeah, D. I think the performance was good, but we didn't see any of it basically. So yeah.
I think what little time he had on screen, he made a decent impact in terms of making it easy to dislike his character. So I think he portrayed the role well for what it is, but and a audience suffered from more than any other character. I think those two suffered the most from having scenes cut.
Yes.
And because of that, I'm going to go with a solid D as well, which I think puts us 1C, 2D, and 1E.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
we can, I think, solidly and safely
Yes.
slot him in D, our first D tier.
Indeed.
Okay. There we go.
All right, moving on. Since we've got one Numenorian and one elf, let's go with Princess Disa. Let's get a dwarf up in there. And I'll go first. To me,
Please do.
yeah, Sophia, and I mean, as Princess Disa, she became that character. There was a lot more range in the character than I thought there was going to be. She went from being just like this lovable, very supporting wife and good mother early on to by the end of it, it was like she was kind of helping lead Durin to like, you know, these are our gems, these are our stones. We will mine them at some point and we'll rule over this realm and all other dwarves. I think she did excellent. To not be a homer, I will give her a B. Strider, back me up here.
Actually, yeah, pretty much as you said. Yeah, basically everything you said. Like I wouldn't say she was necessarily like an S or A tier, but I think she was really cool. I really liked that, and as you said, like there was more depth than I like. We didn't know what to expect with her, you know, because she's an original character. So I think she was really the actors did a really good job with what she had. I would say I was even considering maybe like B+ or something, but the part at the end where she kind of feels like goes all this will all day be ours, we will rule all the mountains or something, that kind of felt weird. So I wouldn't give her more than I think B is a pretty good level tier for her. So yeah, B.
And would you give her higher than a B if she would have appeared around her new table that she won?
No, I'm you know, I'm at a dilemma here because I love dwarves, but the bland comment that has been leveled at Elrond and at Kemen, to some extent, I feel is a little bit the case here insofar as that for 90, you're right, there is a shift, but still for 90% of the screen time, which is not a ton, sadly, of Disa, she is this very matronly kind of like, you know, aunt, really. And then for like 10%, she becomes not necessarily, Lakidia called it Lady Macbeth, but for like ambitious tiger mom kind of thing. It's like, okay, it's something, but it's not, you know, like it's very kind of, oh, you know, the very matronly dwarf woman kind of aunt thing. So I'm wavering between a B and a C actually here. Yeah, I'm gonna be a little bit ruthless and go with a C, even though, you know, I love dwarves, but...
Did you miss her holding a mole earlier in the season? Come on, man. Laketia, increase this rank. Tell them the truth.
I will. I'll give her a B. I gotta say that with her, she started off very, very strong for me, but then throughout the season, I was a little bit more disappointed in her. I felt her character arc was very, I don't know. We haven't seen a lot of her, so I think that's mostly to blame for my slight disappointment in her. But I would say that this was one of the cases where the performance absolutely elevated the source material. I mean, the source material as in the script. So I think that Sofia Novete provided such a fiery, charismatic performance that I think just character itself, just the way she was written, I would give her a C or maybe even lower. But the performance was so magnetic, I cannot give her any lower than B. So
That's very well put, yeah.
I think that slots her firmly into the B tier category.
Good.
Yeah.
All right, I need to put it there. B.
Found her nice and easy too. Let's go with we're missing a Harfoot now, so let's go ahead and go with Poppy. Is Poppy on there?
Is Poppy out there?
Yeah. She.
Yeah. I
be.
see it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there she is.
Yeah, she's on the edge.
I'll go first with Poppy. And I know a lot of folks went from not really wanting Harfoots in this at all to kind of enjoying them and then becoming much better than anticipated. And Poppy was a character for me that was like that. I felt like she was sort of the emotional backbone of the Harfoots at times. And, you know, she had that amazing moment with the song. But I just think she also had those heartfelt moments where when they were doing And I Will Wait for You, and they had listed basically her whole family dying. Just those sad moments, it got me. But she wasn't a standout character. So I put her in the C tier category. And I think for a lot of the characters, they're all going to suffer somewhat from not enough screen time. But for me, she is a C. And I think she performed amazingly. There's just only so much you can do when you're trying to fit 20-something main characters into 8 to 9 hours of TV.
8.5. I timed it.
And what do you think about your favorite Harfoot?
I'm wavering between a C because you're right. The Harfoot storyline does benefit mostly from being given time to breathe in the edit, especially early on. And as cloying as it is, and it is very cloying sometimes, I think must be said, there is good stuff in it, especially with Poppy, because she gets both, she gets, a bit of poetry, as you said, and then very much so, the one moment where a little bit of poignancy can seep into that storyline is with Poppy and that push in when she's, when they read out her family stuff. So, I think mine is a B with that. Like it's again a wavering between a B and a C, but I'll put this one in a B actually for me.
Lakitia?
Yeah, absolutely a B for me, and I would put her at top of the B tier. I absolutely in front of Disa for me. I think the only reason why I wouldn't put her in A tier is because again we've seen fairly little of her. She was very much a supporting character. There were some a bit questionable moments where I felt it was a little bit overacted.
I see that. Yeah.
But mostly, this was absolutely one of my favorite characters, one of my favorite performances, and she provided some of my top favorite moments. And her acting absolutely elevated those moments. My heart broke when I saw her cry. Her story, her singing was absolutely gorgeous, divine. Her final farewell from Nori again broke my heart. So Poppy was, I agree, she was the emotional heart of one half of the emotional heart, half of the Harfoot story. So I absolutely adored her, and I'm really hoping that she gets a bigger role in season 2.
And Strider.
Lakitia definitely convinced me. It's also a B tier for me as well. It's a lot of stuff has been happening the last few weeks, so I kind of forgot about some things. But yeah, like she gave us one of the most Tolkienian moments in the entire season. So even just based on that, on the song, she deserves a B tier. But yeah, she definitely had some really, really strong scenes when we hear the backstory of her family and all that, and she had some other moments. And she had like funny moments, cute moments, sad moments. So yeah, definitely a B tier. Yeah, totally.
That's all of us, right?
Very well done. Yeah, I think
Rocking, you said
Yeah,
yours,
B.
right?
I was the
Yeah,
lowest
Yeah.
one with a C. She gets a B.
Yeah.
Next, let's go with Isildur. And
Ah.
we can start with Hen. What do you grade Isildur?
I was just thinking, there was an interview with Maxim Baldry early on where he said, "Oh, some people are really not gonna like Isildur in this," and immediately your mind races to a very angsty Isildur, and there are elements of that, but it was never like irritating in any way for me. For me. So like it's another character that is a little bit underserved in the edit. But at the same, like I don't know, like it's okay, you know what I mean? Like it's a B or a C as well for me. Maybe a C, like it's okay. There's nothing wrong about it at all, but it's like it's not given enough time to really flourish.
So it's a C for Hen.
Yeah.
What about Lakitia?
It's a C for me. He was a little bit undeveloped again. And he was a little bit of a cliche and a bit of a modern cliche, in my opinion. The typical coming of age story when he's this angsty youth who's gonna mature into the guy who will shape the fate of many. I don't know. I thought that his character would come off stronger. I mean, in the sense that he would be more flavorful in a way. So yeah, I hope he does develop more in the future season. But as of now, C tier for me.
Yeah.
Ryder, are you also a C?
Hey,
I
he
think
is
so.
an A. Sorry.
I think so actually, yes. But I see some comments in the chat.
Modesty.
I need some comments in the chat about him like going for nepotism and all that. I don't think that was the case. I think he was definitely not going for that because I mean, in that one specific moment, yes, but overall, that's not his whole. That's not how he's going about it. In his life generally, I think he is looking for his place in life, and his father tried to give him all of these things, but he didn't find himself that. Like he wasn't like, "Hey, Dad, put me there," and then he was like, "Nope." Then he put me there, and so on. So I think he felt. I think that he felt at that one point, okay, I feel that I need to go to Middle Earth. So okay, please now help me. Now I want you to help me. Which again, I'm not condoning it at all, but still, I don't think that was the case. I don't think he was going about nepotism. I think he's definitely has potential, and we didn't see enough of him. That whole voice talking to him and all that.
That was weird. Yeah.
Yeah, but there's stuff there. I think he, again, as many characters, suffered from cuts. So
yes.
Yeah, I think there's potential. Kind of disappointingly, but he's a C.
Yeah. Can I just add that I think that for a character that's going to be as important as he will be later on, and for somebody who actually had this sort of an arc this season, his motivation really wasn't explained well enough for my taste. Like we see that he's rebelling against his father, but I don't actually understand what his motivation is, what his goal is. I feel like everything is underrepresented in a way.
Because he wants to go to the West, and we don't know what that means yet.
Yeah.
What is there? Like, is there like another city hiding in there? Are they like beach bums or like what is it? So yeah.
So a C for me too.
I don't have anything else to add. I think everybody kind of laid it out very well. And C is always right, and that's the tier that he belongs in.
Smooth. Very smooth.
Thank you. And just kind of going with the nepotism comments, let's go ahead and go with Daddy Elendil next, who, for me, is also a B tier character. Strider?
Yeah, that's a hard one. I think he is one of the best cast characters. I love the actor. I think he's going to be an awesome Elendil. I think he had some really good scenes, especially I think he started off very, very strong. Yeah, then he had some kind of weird scenes, like the scene where he's crying about Isildur with Galadriel and Miriel and who else, Bronwyn. And that kind of that scene was a bit weird one, even though it was supposed to be
Yes.
like this big emotional moment. It was kind of framed weirdly or something. It didn't
Thank
hit like
you.
it didn't like it didn't
I remember
hit
you
like
saying it.
Theoden. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think he was great. Yeah. Okay. Armando says in the chat, Elendil is B plus. So I would say he's a B plus. I think he will be an easy A by the end of the show. He's going to be, I think, absolutely epic.
Yeah.
I think he has definitely potential for that. But so far, yeah, B plus, like a really strong B, because the casting is fantastic, but he just didn't have that much to do. So, yeah.
Lakithia, what's your rating for Daddy Elendil?
Well, I'm not a big fan of the casting. I think Lloyd Owen is a charming gentleman, but he didn't buy me as of yet with his performance. I don't know what's happening with that wig, but that wig is horrible. But I absolutely agree with Strider. I think I was fine with the performance until we got to the crying scene. I don't know why that one didn't work for me, but it absolutely didn't work for me. I would put him in C tier. But I understand that he'll end up in B tier, and I'm fine with that as well. I have high hopes for him in the future, and I think the actor is capable of a lot of emotion, and I think he's capable of, I don't know, I think he could turn out great, but the character itself, the way it's written, I like the dad jokes. I hated the way he treated his daughter. I mean, as a father, I think he's just, I don't know, maybe they're going with this really complex character, but be that as it may, it didn't work for me. So for me, it's C tier.
And Hen.
I'm wavering again between the B and the C, and I'm actually think that I'm emboldened to put it in a C because Elendil is one of those characters you talked about them being stereotypes in a way, and quite a lot of them are actually. And Elendil, very much the kind of old school Hollywood leading man, square jawed, baritone, so yeah, it's kind of easy to like that kind of character, minus the neglecting father, let's call it, aspects of the character, which are certainly meant as a character flaw going forward. But other than that, like it's very like a type, and in that way, it's a little bit bland again. So I'm gonna go with an affectionate C.
So we've got 2 Bs and 2 Cs. I think we should let the audience tell us in the chat whether they believe he should be more of a B or more of a C, while we move on to, let's go with
Yes.
Farazan.
Oh, okay, that counts.
And Lakithia, why don't you start us off on that one?
Okay, Farazan. I feel like this will be one of the more interesting characters in the future. We've only seen very little of him so far again, but in what little we've seen, I was completely convinced by him. I felt the performance was really nice. I wasn't too big a fan of the speech that he held.
Yes.
But apart from that, they're going with this cunning politician. I see the prototype they're tackling here. I like that they're making him likable as well. So for me, I think he's B tier. I can't quite put him in A tier because again, he was just in a few scenes, but absolutely very solid B tier for me.
Yeah.
Strider, where do you fall on that?
Yeah, I would agree. We didn't see that much. That was that one scene with the speech that was overall quite bad, for many reasons, not because of him or something, but like that scene just didn't work out. But he was, from what we've seen overall, he was really cool. So yeah, I think it's an easy B so far. Also, I have to say, my buddy Elendil, he is, according to the crowd, a B tier. So thank you very much, everyone.
I think we can safely add him to the B tier. I'm also a B on Farazan. Hen, what are you?
Yeah, same. Like it's nice that it's not played too smarmy, And when Tar Palantir dies, he seems to be genuinely very distraught. And all of those touches are quite nice, but at the same time, very minor role. Like, very little, actually. Very.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a B. So we all agree?
Yeah, all in agreement
Yeah.
on that one. And I think let's pop over to one that might be a little more controversial, maybe give us some wider range of opinions. Let's move to the great Celebrimbor and see what you folks think about him. And let's start with Hen.
Okay, Celebrimbor. Another actually quite small role. Not a ton of screen time. Some of it, especially in the early episodes, you can tell it's because of the recasting. You can really tell. But also, the avuncular touch is nice in a way, like it's likable, and it's played very well, I think. At the same time, again, a small role, and all of the kind of Faustian aspects of Celebrimbor have been kind of stripped away from him. And really, a lot of what Celebrimbor does, I've heard this said, has been sort of relegated to Elrond, really. And so I don't know. I think a B is appropriate here. Like it's engaging when he's on screen, but it's been very. Yeah, why is?
I'm more of a D on Celebrimbor, and I think that a lot of the season, in the parts that he was in, he was such a tag along character that it almost felt like he didn't really know what he was doing, and it was just he was so easily influenced by others. Like, oh, I didn't even think of doing an alloy to combine all this stuff. Like, I don't know. I just felt like he was probably a big victim of being recast throughout the season and having to come in late, so they couldn't have him in everything, especially if stuff was already filmed. But I don't know. Expected in a show about the Rings of Power, he was going to play a much larger role. So for me, he's a D. Strider?
Yeah, you just said it very well. I think he is somewhere between a C and a D. I would say a C because the actor, I think, is quite good. I think he had some really good scenes, but there was so few of them, and for someone who's supposed to be the person who makes the Rings of Power, that was way too little. So, like a lower C, but not because of the actor, just mainly because of the scenes and the story and the room that he actually had to play with, which was poor. So
yeah, no shot at him as an actor.
And he had those he had those disappointing moments also, like the way they're making the rings and Halbrand gives tips. That was like, really, he didn't think. Like, I can kind of make myself make like an excuse in my brain for it, but I shouldn't have to do that to make Celebrimbor make sense in the process of making of the rings. So yeah, like a C, but like a lower C, but not because of the actor, because of the writing and the room he was given.
Yeah. Okay. So this is gonna hurt. This is really difficult to do, but I'm gonna have to give him a D as well. He was he was the character I was most looking forward to, and I don't see the direction that they're going with him. I think it's very murky at this point. I will say though that the performance itself I felt was quite compelling actually, and I really liked Charles Edwards. I nearly had a heart attack when we learned that he was going to play Celebrimbor, but now I feel that choice specifically was good, and I think his Celebrimbor could be amazing. But the way that the character was written, he just leaves me completely disinterested. So yeah, it's a D tier for character.
I'm gonna amend mine to a C, not because of like peer pressure, but just because it's very, the character I think could be a B conceivably, but the storyline is a D, and so I think there is a point to it. Yeah, I'm gonna amend mine to a C.
Which I think lines him into the D tier of characters that we've done so far. Next, Lakidia, did you have a suggestion for who we should do next? I think it would be a fan page.
Yeah, actually, we don't have Waldreg on the list, so I
Yes,
suggest we just do one of the thumbnails and have
one
those
of the wizards
represent.
one. Yeah.
That's right, and have that represent Waldreg. So I'll kick this off. I'll say that Waldreg is the character that probably surprised me the most, even out of all
Yes.
non-canonical characters. I felt like this was just going to be a very meh character, but then again, it was just played with such gusto. He was just an absolute joy to watch, absolute joy to even root for in some scenes. He was the perfect lackey. I don't know. I loved him. I would place him in B tier, despite the fact that he's a very minor character.
Yes, and it goes. There's a point to be made here about the kind of arbitrariness of who's the main character, who isn't, because
Yeah.
Waldreg has more to do than I think 5 or 6 of the main
Yeah.
character
Oh,
combined.
easily.
It's so weird, and it's not
Yes.
like early on I thought, oh, the main characters are the ones that are gonna carry on, and it's like,
Yeah.
well, no, because Sadok dies and Waldreg is still alive when the curtain goes down. So yeah, I don't know what the deal is. Yeah, yeah.
So what do you give him, Hen? A B?
Oh, I'll give him a B. You know, if it was a more major role, it would be an A, because I think the performance is very good and he gets stuff done, which is more than could be said for a lot of people in this. I'm sorry to say, but yeah, because it's still a relatively minor role, all things considered, I'll give it a B.
Strider, are you off of the B or are you with them?
Yeah. I mean, weirdly enough, yeah, Waldreg was. As I love the comments, like MVP, Employee of the Year, GOAT. Like I can't say I disagree with that. Like he definitely, founder of Mortar, he definitely deserves, like, his statue should be like right in front of the entrance of Barad-dûr, and there's like I don't know, some frescoes or something like around the entrance to the Crackers of Doom or something. Like, what the hell?
There was such funny memes about it. Like,
No, seriously, like,
what about
actual Employee of the
Waldreg?
Month, like the
Yeah,
guy
like,
did the whole thing. Like,
yeah,
that's crazy.
yeah.
So he deserves a raise. Absolutely deserves a raise. Yeah, it was a minor role that out of nowhere just took over the show in so many ways. So yeah, like he's a B. He's a B. Yeah, definitely.
I would have given him an A because I just think he nailed everything he was in, and he wasn't really a part of anything that he brought down. I think he elevated every scene that he was in. But you know, we're a democracy here, so we got 3 Bs, so we're going to go with a B and disagree with our fans.
Can I just say that he also provided one of the most quotable, memeable lines in this show? Have you heard of him, lad? Have you heard of Sauron? Everybody knows it. People kept saying it all the time. So yeah, absolutely. You know, a wonderful surprise.
Yes, very surprising.
All right, so another character into the B tier. Let's go with Adar. And I will start off with, and I'll say we don't have a tier high enough for where Adar belongs. So he's going to slot safely into an A tier for me next to Elrond. And I'd put him above Elrond if possible. Hen, what are your thoughts on Adar?
I'm gonna put him in A. I don't think he's necessarily such, you know, a better character than Elrond necessarily, who I think is very much like the, you know, one of the leads, whereas Adar is the antagonist. But
yeah, he's top 5.
Like it's very good. The performance is very accomplished. The character is very well written. You know, I don't want to say sympathetic so much as pitiable, and very, you know, and yet quite menacing at the same time. So it's good. And oh, morning, boss. Hi everybody. This is a guy we work with sometimes. He's called Harry.
You may know him.
Hello.
Yeah, maybe you've seen him.
Working?
I think
is
so.
Is everything working?
I hear
working.
It's fine.
Yay!
Yay! Oh,
Yay.
how many have you guys done so far? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, we were a bit slow.
Yeah. Okay. Hi.
We were doing it with relish.
But it's a fun conversation, you know. So
yeah. Or
Do something. They place Waldrig in B. What's Waldrig doing in B tier?
where would you put
That's
him?
just
in?
what the folks voted, man. That's what
Bro,
they.
Waldrig, we all know is A tier. Come on. Look,
So that how where does that place the votes? I put him in B.
I put him
I
in B.
put him
It
in
was
B.
3
you put him in
Bs and there
B.
are 2 A's now.
Yeah, I mean,
Well-
we can put
So it's
Volreg
still a
like
B.
somewhere towards like the start of B tier. You know, we can put him over
can-
there. Like sure, but he's not an A tier. Just
Who
for the
were the
sake of him
two
not
A's?
being a huge character.
I will just hold the mouse like this. No.
also,
Yeah.
hi to everyone in chat. Hi Nick, I think. So hi Priscilla, Runka, and everyone. So yeah, sure. I'll stop
Okay,
now. Continue, guys.
let's continue with Adar.
Yes, Strider. What
I
is your
said
rank on
mine,
Adar? So far, there's 2 A's.
Adar is like as people say, it's like a triple A. I think he was probably my favorite part of the show. I really liked what happened there. The storyline with orcs and Adar and everything he like. He is an evil person, sure. I agree with that, but I'm not. I don't want to comment on, where he ranks on the scale of ultimate good, ultimate evil. I don't care about that in this moment. But as a character, I think he was easily one of the best, probably the best one. He made the orcs 3D, 4D people. Like he gave us motivations. He was complex. He had his orcish side, but then before the battle, which is like same thing that Arondir did, he was absolutely amazing. The performance was really cool. I think what they did with him, like his look was not too much. It was just enough to see that this is definitely not an elf we've seen before. Performance was great. Adar he may be the MVP of the show, like for real. I really like Adar. For me, he's like number one. The best, the most
A tier.
impressionable character I've seen in the show.
And look at you.
Okay, first of all, I want to say happy birthday to Priscilla. It's her birthday today, apparently. So yay!
Okay, happy birthday, Priscilla. Thank you for being with us.
Yeah, I think there's a birthday to another member of the panel, which isn't here, but
Oh, that is true.
Mhm.
So yeah, back to Adar. I think he was one of the most compelling characters. He was very charismatic. Like you guys said, he made the baddies a little bit more relatable, and the performance just top notch. So I would place him top of A tier for now.
Yes.
Harry had an
Harry.
A, so we are all in agreement that he is A tier.
And put him before Elrond, please.
Yes.
I don't think it allows me to manipulate. No, it does.
You can.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Good.
Let's go ahead and move on to Muriel, and we can start with Letitia.
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
Why do I always get the ones that I'm a bit more negative about? Okay, I place Muriel in C tier. Nothing was particularly interesting to me regarding Muriel. I could see this being again more interesting further down the line, but so far she just left me very meh. I did feel some pain for her when she, finds out that her father has passed away, when she got blind and everything. But so far for me, somewhere middle down the road. I would place her below Isildur on C tier.
Strider.
Yeah, I'm not going to add anything to that. What Lakitia said.
And Hen.
I'm gonna be quick here, but when she popped up in episode 3, she didn't have a lot of screen time, and I was kind of I wasn't sure about the performance. We saw very little of it, and then in episode 4, it was like, okay, this is better. And by the next to the final one, was it next to the final one? It was the next to the final one. I really like the resolve of you. Oh, don't pity me, Elf. I'm gonna come back here and tell you the new one. But at the same time, I get that the character is a bit not super interestingly written. She's just a queen. So I'm wavering between a B and a C, and I'm gonna way down on a C, I think. But an affectionate C.
Harry.
A C plus.
Well, Cynthia had a lot of nice things to say about Fellowship of Fans, so I'm going to put Miriel in A. I'm joking, all jokes aside. Of course, Cynthia's person would be A, but before going into the show, I wasn't too convinced around her potentially being Miria, but I was happy. I was content with. Of course, they've changed how, because in the books, in the Silmarillion, she's it's like a basic, not basic character, but then seeing her motivation, seeing where she ends up, they have to really develop that. I think that's what we're going to get into the next season. So for that, B or C, but I'd say more B. But I'll be fine if you guys put it in C. It's not a deal breaker.
I'm also a B on her, but with 3 C's, that is the majority vote. So we can slot her into C and move on to a younger cast member. Let's go with young Theo. Harry, where do you rank young Theo at?
Was that me?
Oh, yeah, you, brother.
Yeah.
I mean,
okay.
you're not Theo, but
So-
you know.
Well,
No, so my thing, like Theo, I'd put him in E tier. I think I didn't really
Wow,
like it as a
okay.
character. I get and understand the portrayal, but yeah, that's where I'd put him. To explain
I'm
my
also
reasoning
E.
further than just to is E to eats bit hen stride look at you.
What?
I would say as well, actually, yeah, like maybe not E, because I think he had some things that he did. I kinda liked some things there, but I would say actually a D as well. Yeah.
I would put it in a D. I would put it in a D. Yeah, like there's nothing like it's
It's
again
all
one
up-
of those. I don't know. It's very difficult to say. It's one of those
That
characters that I was like, all right, Theo is a thing.
I think
That
like
means
if I may just like a quick comment, like I think a lot of characters that are involved in this Numenor turned Southlands plotline suffer from the weakness of the plotline.
Yes.
So I think a lot of characters from that
Yes.
side of the show will end up in like a D or top at best like in a C, because
Something telling me
they're
we're
just
coming up to a few of them very shortly.
yeah, definitely. Like there's just a lot of problems there. The characters couldn't. There was a lot of weird choices there. It was a very clunky storyline. So I think that's why a lot of characters will just end up being like C, D.
well,
Yeah.
that's the fun of the game, because that's 2 Ds, 2 E's. That means Lakitia, the deciding vote is on you.
I'm actually placing him in C tier, so
Oh.
I guess we'll go with
That
D
makes
tier.
sense.
I didn't find
Fair
him that uncompelling. I thought he was underdeveloped. Like, I know I keep saying that about everybody. Bear with me. It's like
I mean that's the case.
but
so.
I do think they have some really interesting things going on with him, and I do hope that he's not just his main struggle was with the weapon this season with the sword. I hope he's not just going to be a good guy from now on and not having any sort of struggles. I still think that his is the character that might be dancing between the light and the dark quite a bit. So I see him being
potential.
very interesting further down the line. But yeah, I guess that's D tier for him then.
That makes
Wait a
him
minute.
a D tier.
Did we ever see someone called Kelly Brimble in chat? So you put Kemen higher than Kelly Brimble?
Yeah, can we switch that?
We
Both.
just had
Yeah,
them
so-
both in D tier before we found out we could
Okay.
maneuver them with
Yeah, so just put Celebrimbor before
To the
Kemen.
right.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Good.
Where was
But
I?
yeah, that means
He's
You're
next
looking
to
for
Arondir.
Theo to put into a D.
There he is.
And
some of the
yeah.
darker frames are a little bit difficult to discern. When
You're fine, brother. I appreciate everything you're doing for us. And we're going to go ahead next and go with the first E tier character, and that is Bronwyn. Harry?
Oh yes.
So agreed. Yeah, 100%.
Lakitia,
Yeah.
so you're
Oh,
not the deciding vote this time.
Yeah.
Oh no, I mean E
That's
tier,
the
really? Why?
Yeah.
I mean I think
First of all,
she's
acting was bad. I think personally, it was like
I don't think it's
first chapter-
bad.
No, it was not
I don't know.
personally. I thought it, but it was like more the fact that the writing was just so one dimensional. It was like Theo, do this. It just that's why I just wasn't really ever invested in the character. But you guys can disagree. But But I think we also need to at least have, for the sake of the list, we need at least one E tier. I think so. If
I think we have maybe at least one more.
Yeah. I think a lot of the
Um,
chat saying E as well.
She only had one scene where I didn't have anything to nitpick, and even in that scene, my girlfriend did. But the one scene I liked her in, or loved the character in, was the one with Arondir when they're at the very end and they're talking about planting Alfred seeds in the garden with me, you, and Theo. That was like the best scene that she was in, and all the others, I just feel like I was able to nitpick those much more than anybody else's scenes. Pen, what do you think?
I'm wavering between the D and the E. Like he is right. There's nothing like terrible about the performance. There's nothing like grating about the character. It's just kind of like, oh, Bronwyn. Oh, good. Like, you know. And again, there is some reason to kind of spread the thing around. So I'm D or
She
E.
raised Theo into being a D tier character so far. So that's all.
Yeah. I'm fine with putting it in an E, but I'm not doing it in any like acrimonious, like I hate this character kind of thing. Just like very not very impressed, I guess.
Look at you. Did
Okay.
you give us an actual ranking, or did we just cut you off?
No,
right,
I
you
would
did.
I would place her at top of D tier actually. I felt that Arondir was a much less compelling character than
Yeah,
her.
we'll get there. Yes.
But yeah, I guess with if I'm the only D and everybody else is an E, that seems fair. Certainly, theirs was the storyline that was the most boring to me. So
Well, yeah, but we're making we're making a
one
nice
thing-
little house in D tier.
Hold on.
One
Strategy.
thing I would like to say, I think it's just down to, this is also based on how well the writing affected the characters, and
Oh, yes.
that means it takes the character. I think it just made it such a one dimension that I just didn't really, think it was
She's
the
mom.
best. But yeah,
Yeah.
season 2 might be better for her.
Yeah, so as I said, the storyline will have a very low average of top tier characters. She was definitely a disappointment in terms of character. So I think somebody said like she was kind of let down with the writing and maybe directing even. I think she's supposed to be a healer. We didn't see her heal anyone. Like she could have healed someone actually. Like she could have done the thing that she is supposed to do. No, instead we saw her trying to,
Die.
for whatever reason, she was apparently the only person with any semblance of authority and brain in the whole village to be like, let's do stuff so we don't die. And I think that's one of the. Okay, she inspected the cow, but I mean, there was a battle. I mean, thank you for the comment. I do. Yeah, you are right. But yeah, she inspected the cow in like the first episode, and that's the only thing she does when it comes to her
My
healing
memory is
skills.
that Arondir tended to the cow, but okay.
And whatever. She didn't do anything proper like that. There was a battle, and she was basically doing the managing the village, because that's one of the letdowns. Like the scale, there was not enough characters in the village. You don't feel anything for anyone there. So they gave her the role of someone trying to save the village and kind of like take it into one direction or the other or something. I don't know. She was very disappointing. So I think, yeah, not an E, but a D for sure. Like easy D.
Should we move on now?
So where are we putting Mrs. Bronwyn? Oh, I already put it in.
Should we leave it there for the time being? We can go back to the end of
Yeah,
the reevaluation part. We still start getting through some of these. So yeah, Vulcan, are you the one doing this pick? I'll take it to you.
Yeah, let's go. Sorry, I dropped out for a second there. Let's go to Arondir, because I feel like I have some views on him. Because to me, Arondir is a B tier character, and I surprisingly found myself liking him more as the season went on.
I agree.
Interesting.
Look,
I think we're
Katia,
gonna have
who's
a
gonna
big
tell me I'm
split
wrong?
here.
wow, for me, I'm between D and E. He was the blandest blend that ever has blended, and I really like myself a silent, quiet type man. But Arondir was just so uninteresting to me. And going into this show, I expected to like him the best because reasons. Ultimately, no, thank you. No, thank you. I still, I think Ismail did as good a job as he could with with the material that he was given, but the material he was given for this character was just sleep-inducing. I'm really sorry, but for me, yeah, I would place him in E tier, and certainly below Bronwyn.
Strider.
Certainly below Bronwyn.
Okay, yeah, this is a very interesting one. So yeah, for me, he wasn't lower than a C. I think maybe a C, or could have even perhaps been some B, even maybe some writing and stuff happened in like way better ways. But I think I would give him a C. I think he had some really cool scenes. I liked him being this stoic type of character. I think he did a good job with that. I liked his action scenes. I think he had some interesting motivation, asking some questions for himself to himself. Doing like some silent elvish things. He carried himself in a very interesting way. So yeah, I'm pretty satisfied with that character, even though I think again the storyline failed everyone. So yeah, he's a C. I think he could have been better, but he's a C.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I think everyone in chat as well is saying C. Just to put out, so I think I'm sorry. Who still needs to go first for their thing?
Just you and Hen.
I think you said right.
Yeah.
No, you didn't.
No, I'm saying I think if Lakitia thinks DE, and then if Valky thinks B, and I think personally for me with Aronde, is surprisingly enough, even though I do understand it, like some of the problems having being a blank character, he was one of the elves that felt most like an elf. It's a weird way, because Gil-galad.
Oh, I understand.
We'll
get to Gil-galad.
Yeah, I think we know where that one's going. But with Aronde, I got that sense of feeling, but at the same time, he wasn't the most engaging character. And I think because everyone in chat as well, so I think the perfect place then, if we want that split in, is C, but should put him at the bottom of C. I think that's fair compromise.
I think we still need to hear from Hen, right?
Okay.
Yes, I think I'm an E with this. Certainly below Bronwyn. It's just like it's. There's nothing irritating about it. We'll get to an irritating character later. His name has already come up. But it's like I don't know. He's punchy guy.
What do you mean?
That's what he does. Like he punches.
Yeah.
No, that's not the only thing he did. Like he did very like.
And he did a little bit of Indiana Jonesing, and it's I don't know. It's like something's missing.
So we got a B, we got a 2 C's, and then 2 E's. Is that what we have here? I think.
Yeah.
If then the chat are B or C. So then we got 2 options we can vote on. I'd say we can either put him at the top of D or put him at the bottom of C.
Let's say.
I'm with bottom of C, but Varking, what about you?
C.
Hen, I guess Hen and Lakitia, you'd say D, I guess.
It's okay. Put him at bottom of C. It's okay.
But again, at the end, we can once we've done them all, we can go through the ones that we think we still got personal gripes on, and we can.
Them, okay.
Yeah, we could. We'll do that. Okay, sorry.
All right, then we will move on to Gil-galad, who to me
collective
A tier, easy A.
Oh yeah, MVP.
Oh good, it's opposite day.
Oh, Varking, did you say D?
I said he's a D. Yeah.
Oh, okay. For me, he's easily E. The biggest disappointment in the show. Nothing worked for me. The way he was written, the way he looked, the way he acted, nothing worked for me.
Strider.
Yeah, it pains me to say that because I really liked the interviews. I really liked the character. Like he's in my top 3 of the crew. In the top 3 of the entire crew of people I would like to go for a beer, he would probably be around there, like top 3 or top 4. But I'm gonna go with an E. Yeah, he was a disappointment in so many ways. So yes, like he had one good line, which was, I wouldn't give this much power to one person. That was like, yeah, okay, that's a very wise thing to say. I really appreciate that. But very too little. Like, no, it's an E.
It's
Can I just say quickly, because I know Benjamin, darling, I know you're watching. We still love you.
Absolutely.
But I'm sorry, Gil-galad didn't work.
Nope.
Just needs to be written better. I don't. To me, it's
Yeah.
not.
I think it's also a little bit in the performance, insofar as the performance is kind of a little bit too grand and a little bit self-conscious in a way. Like, oh, here I am, I'm playing the king of the elves. Oh, isn't this fun? Let's play. You know, like, I
So
don't
what's your
know.
letter ranking, Hen?
You know, it's an E, I think. And it's like
And Harry?
that's the one where it's irritating because it's like he tells Galadriel, who I'm not a huge fan of either, but still it's different. And he tells her, "Oh, you shouldn't be here at all," and I'm like, "Oh, piss off, you!" It's like, why would you? Why?
I'm with E as well. It's a lot of potential there that, you know, and I feel he just felt like a royal king that, you know, just didn't have much more beyond that. And I think also that goes down to screen time as well. But I know from what I understand, like if Celebrimbor stuff had to get redone because the Tom Budge stuff, and whether Benjamin actually had more stuff in the show that he could have done with Gil-galad, that could have been a factor. But I think as of right now, that is where I would unfortunately put the High King.
All right, then he is an E by our standards. Is that a dweller I see on the list that we could vote on?
There is a dweller. I'm not sure why.
Well, let's go ahead and vote on the dweller. The dweller, to me, I'm gonna have to go with a D on this one as well. Harry?
I'd put thing for me is it was quite like menacing, even though she had no lines. Like as with the dweller, because I just put them into a fact. Like I put her character is more like all three of them, the mystics together.
Okay.
And I just think that's how I view it. And it was for me. I'd go C, but bottom of C. That's where I'm at the moment.
Hen.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna go with an E on this one. It's a very small role to the extent that I'm not sure why it's here really. It doesn't
because they had a big fight in episode 8. That is why it was part of the pod.
They had a big fight.
Yes, well,
it was the culmination of that.
It was a comment.
So,
there's no need to be sarcastic about it. Hen.
No, it's okay. It's just I don't know. It's small and kind of like witch, like
on being a character,
like a witch. When I say like Meg Mucklebones and that sort of thing. Oh, you know, like without the lines, of course. But yeah, I don't. I'm not a fan.
Strider.
Yeah, so little of it. I don't know. It felt so weird. We don't know what's happening there. Like they definitely so they're definitely hard to give like a proper judge. I'm sorry, my brain and my English are not braining and Englishing today. To judge it properly, it's hard to do that with these characters because we had so few of it, like so little of it, so late in the story. And we're gonna get like some proper explanation payoffs like way later, like in the second season, maybe even after that. So it's hard to say what they are. But I wouldn't say it's an E because like they didn't suck. Like they weren't awfully performed. It's just that they didn't have much to do. So they're like maybe on the level of Kemen even because they had more scenes than he did. And they did stuff in those scenes, and the things that they did wasn't bad. It was just like very little. So, what did we do with Kemen? Is a D. Yeah, like I would also put them somewhere in the D ranking because they're not an E because they weren't awful. Like they didn't do awful stuff like acting wise or whatever on the screen. So I cannot say they're an E, but there's just not much to it. So like a D, yeah.
And Lady Lakitia.
Bottom of E for me. Nothing worked about the mystics for me. I felt, with all due respect to Bride Istison, who I think must be a wonderful young lady, I felt the performance was very over the top, especially with the movement. It was very dancey. but I felt that was more appropriate for a stage production than a TV show. I was tempted to put her in D tier just for the sole fact that she didn't turn out to be Sauron. But all in
I
all,
didn't think of that.
for me, the mystics were just pure evil from the moment you see them, and especially her character. So for me, it absolutely didn't work and was one of the weakest points of the show for me.
Yeah, to be fair, I also want to say like probably like the lowest D so far. I wouldn't say any, but like a lowest D. I feel what was just said.
All right, then, Hen, I guess let's throw them into either the D or E. I don't think anybody's going to be too upset one way or the other. And then let's move on to Aodian. And
I don't know.
we
I'm
can-
putting it in a D for a moment, and then
that's fine.
we'll come through it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hen, go ahead and start us off with where you rank Aodian.
Arian. One of those cases where it's hard, or you try to suppress your impressions of, as Ryder says, the interviews, where I think she comes off very well. Not because she's pretty, but just because of she doesn't have, the airs and graces of some of the other ones. And but at the same time, it's such a nothing Raw in this season. Like, there's nothing. It's not nothing, but like, there's so little of Arian in this. So little that it's kind of like a C. I don't know.
All right,
Hen,
Strider, what do
quickly-
you think of
wait,
Aodian?
Sorry, quickly, Hen, can you zoom out a bit on the screen, because some of it is cut this once. Okay, that's
right,
fine. So
yeah.
now just try to continue that. Sorry.
Yeah, I think she was hurt the most by cutting stuff. Like, do we all agree with that? I think she lost the most.
Very
I mean,
likely. Yes.
we can't know until we've seen the cut.
Yeah,
stuff, I suppose.
but it feels like of all the characters that it feels like she suffered the most. So I think she was. I like her few scenes with Isildur and Elendil. I liked her there. I think, nothing too crazy. Like, those weren't the best scenes of the show anyway. Like in a sense. So it's not that crazy good or something. But I think she did this nice job. I think I like her relationship with Isildur and them having. I liked the character, like that she had some secrets with Isildur. She was like they were supporting each other. Behind the father's back, which is how it should be. If you have a sister or brother, you get. Usually, that's how it goes. That's what I did with my sister. We will cover for each other, of course. So a D, but I think she will go much. I feel and I hope she will go much higher in future seasons when she gets stuff to do. Like, that's the only problem I have with the character was it was awful.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry for her because she looked very promising. The actress felt really good in the interviews. She had she was a guest at Marking's podcast. She was so nice. So the understanding of her character seems very strong. It feels like she got so invested in the character and we saw nothing of it, which is a huge shame. And I really hope we get to see more of that.
It's more than just she's cut down in the edit, but also there's Arian, and then there's the plot somewhere around here. So it's also that
true.
as well.
So 1C, 1D. Look at you. Where are you at?
I think for now D tier as well. I had really high hopes for her character, and I felt with her, career being set up as being this center point for her, I was really intrigued where this was gonna go. But then ultimately we didn't see her actually do any actual career progress whatsoever. We just saw her, like, we did see that she was one of the chosen ones to do the statue or the portrait of the king by the end, but ultimately she was a bit of a nothing burger. I really hope we do get to see her progress and learn to be a great architect as the seasons go on. But for now, D tier.
So C, 2Ds. Harry, where you at on Aodian?
For me, you pair Kemen with the Yardian. So if Kemen's in D, I'd pair Yardian there equally. For me, the reason I wouldn't go E is because is in fact the idea of the character is interesting. You know, when you learn that you have to make up original characters for the show, having Isildur have a sister, for me, I know a lot of people didn't like it at the time, but it wasn't the end of the world, and it's a nice, interesting thing. I actually like the little political thing with how it could have worked with Kemen, but again, we saw nothing of it, really. I think we knew the dinner scene that we could have had, which could have been interesting, which might be in episode 3, episode 4, which I think Emma mentioned once that she got cut. But yeah, I think Kieran's put it perfectly in the comments. I think we all know that Ayali and Badazon will really hit their stride next season. So I think that is why I'm still putting it in D.
All right, so a C and three Ds. So now we have Big Papa Bark's opinion here, and that is, by the end of the season, we find out Ayarian can draw. She's a phenomenal sister.
Wow.
She's an understanding daughter.
She can draw.
She's trusted to draw the image of the king, who will be at some point turned into a statue. And she got to touch the Palantir and see what's coming up. And those were
Except we didn't see it.
Well, we saw her put her, go in the room. She obviously put her hand on it in the podcast.
But that's
hey,
Strider's point.
Turn to talk.
And
she's also one of the coolest people I've ever spoken to out of the entire cast. So, if I'm gonna finally use my shield points, I'm gonna put Ayarian as a B, which means that should put her safely somewhere at the high D or low C tier. And I will not stand for any Emma Horvath slander as we move on to the next character here.
I absolutely support this.
Yeah.
I'm fine with putting her at the top of D. I think
she cannot be behind Kemen.
Yeah, let's put top D, sure.
Top of D seems fair.
Yeah, let's make them a nice pair here.
No, separate them because
No. Yes, separate. Yeah, top D.
Put her in front of boring.
Just before we move on, I just want to say that I really thought that the whole political divide within the family was going to be tackled with really interestingly, and yes. I felt it wasn't at all. She just listens to one of the speeches and she's like, okay, I'm semi-intrigued, and then all of a sudden she's this big Pharazôn supporter. I really wanted more depth here, so I hope we get it eventually, but we didn't.
That's a good point, though, because she touches the Palantir, and you would think that would maybe change her mind a little bit. But we didn't see it, so we don't know.
There is, I think, like a whole season worth of development cut, like a whole plot of a season was cut.
I really
where Elendil's family would shine. We saw nothing of it. It was teased so much. It was so important, and we just didn't see that.
Watching it, I didn't feel like that much was cut. Really, I felt like a few dates of hers.
Not just cut. I think also underwritten. I think Numenor was terribly underwritten in every sense. In that sense. But anyway.
Okay, but in terms of cutting footage, yeah.
Moving on to a character with some amazing depth, let's go with Durin the Third, and let's start with known dwarf lover Lakitia.
I was sure that's gonna be.
We've seen 2 scenes of him altogether?
4 or something, but yeah, short.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know that
short.
Yeah. I mean, the performance was lovely. But I wasn't thrilled with the way he was just freaking out by the end of the final scene that we see him in. So that kind of soured the whole experience for me. All in all, I think I would put him in C tier. C or D
tier
possibly.
For a known hater is fair. Strider, what do you think of Durin the Third?
Yeah, very similar to Lakitia actually. Top D tier, low C tier. I don't care. Whatever. Because he starts off interestingly, and then the whole development of his story during the fourth was kind of weird. Let's go with C, but somewhere towards the end.
So 2 C's so far. Hen, where are you at on Papa Durin?
I'm a little bit confused. Just not a lot, but because I like when he's introduced, and he's got this really cool screen presence. And then I sort of had a picture in my mind of how Peter Mullen was going to play it. And I was very surprised that it was played very minimalistically, like he was doing very little acting in a way. And that's very like, it's an interesting way to go about the character. It reminds me of like Alec Guinness and that sort of thing. And that was like, I was sitting there like, this is so cool. And then next to last, but their last episode came up. And I guess the director, Charlotte Brandstrom, just told him, like, do a few takes where you really, like, get, And for someone who has played everything so dialed back to suddenly go all histrionic and, like, was a little weird. At the same time, I don't think it detracts too much. It's really just one scene not of many that he had, but I'm gonna put it in a C. It's a small role, so I don't
That's
think...
3 C's. Harry, where you at?
Well, I'm going to go with what most chat are saying. All I've seen in chats are B's or A's, funny enough. So
I was contemplating.
But a lot of people in the chat also said that they confused him with During the Fourth.
Wow, really?
So
They're wrong, but yeah.
For
so
me,
Harry, are you going with B or A?
I'm going, for me, B. If he had more screen time, I'd go for A. I thought, first of all, that I think I really love that scene in episode 2 or 3 where it's like that father-son bonding between,
I think that's episode 4.
Okay, thank you,
I think.
Okay. And I think, that I'd put to purposefully confuse him. Okay, so that is where, but for me, During the Fourth goes in A tier. So if he's in A tier, I'd put Peter Mullen as doing him.
Yeah, During the Third for me would be the currently he would be the bottom of A tier or the top of B tier. So I give him an A because he gets that dwarven bonus, an empathy roll for me. So I think we've got 1A, 1B, and 3C. So I think he should be slotted somewhere in the B.
Mm-hmm.
Fine. Okay, I'll take him. I'll take him down. I'll take him down to
the
D.
votes are in. The count is stopped.
Wow. I also want to add something. I think
I was contemplating bumping him up. Actually,
for me, what hurts the most for me with his character, we'll see how they will resolve that in like the next seasons. The whole Balrog subplot is dumb and unnecessary, and I really dislike the fact that he's hinting at the darkness beneath the mountain that will bury them. Why is that happening? Why is he doing that? I think that took away so much from taking his character seriously. I don't like that. So that's why I definitely put him in
to
C.
his credit, Strider and Hen, I hear you chiming in. To his credit, During the Third agrees with you that there should not be a Balrog plot, and that's why he wants to go ahead and close that up and do no more cooking.
Right.
So B tier for
makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And then we will move on to Sadek, who got the better in a 1v1 fight with one of the Dwellers' friends. And let's start with Harry. Where do you rank Sadek Burrows?
C for me. He had more of the comedic stuff, and it was quite funny. I just thought his death was a bit weird. For that whole sequence, just sitting there waiting for the moment and how that'll happen. But he was good as a half-it. Yeah, and I think that is where I would put him. I'd put him at the top of C. I put him above Isildur and Elrond.
It's a pretty strong ranking and kind of higher than I thought you guys would have him. Hen, what do you think of Sadek?
I'll put him in a C as well. It's, on all things considered, not a very big role, really. And very much kind of the elder, and like it's performed well and everything. And but it's still, and the death scene is a little bit like it's fine, but it's also a little bit, we can't go too grisly with the half-wits, can we? Because they're supposed to be cute. And that's one of the more cloying aspects of that story.
Strider.
The only death that they have is very tame.
Yeah, I think C sounds about right. that was some good stuff, but I don't know. He felt some. Yeah, I don't want to go too much into that. So yeah, let's go C from me as well.
And Lakitia.
He's B for me. I think his character really worked. It might have been a little cliche at some points, but I felt it was performed absolutely lovely. So yeah, he's somewhere bottom of B tier for me.
And I actually agree with Lakitia. I have him as a B, but I think the majority here has him as a C. So let's go ahead and throw him into the C tier list.
But top of C.
Okay.
Okay. Now I'll change my vote to he goes at the end of B. Okay, put it there.
There you go.
And can I just say that the previous count was a little bit off?
Supposed to be. Where is it supposed to be?
Yeah,
Help me.
he's
Well, but the
top
thing
of-
is, most
he's
of chat
top of
said
C.
B. Most of chat said B. That's why that.
Who's
that's
asking
one of
them? No, I'm joking.
Ken, careful. So yeah, that's why. But we can talk. That's one we can talk at the end.
I'm sorry, but Armando Alvarez, I loved when he immediately went to. I guess I'll die. Have fun, guys.
Yeah, that's what it's like. It's just. Oh no, chat's gonna get angry now. Okay. Anyways, okay.
Let's move on to Marigold.
Oh,
another hard
Ken, you've got chat angry. Well done. Mute Chen.
Strider, where would you slot Marigold into this list?
Yeah, very kind of small role. I think she was pretty cool actually. I think she made this stepmother role feel really nice and natural. I really liked the relationship that she had with what's her name, Nori, and the kids. I think that was quite lovely actually. Yeah, she's not an A tier character, but she's definitely a B for me. She was pretty cool.
So it's a B. Lakitia, what do you grade her at?
I would place her solidly somewhere on top of C tier. I felt she was a compelling enough character, but nothing that stood out. So C tier for me.
Not a lot of screen time, I don't think, right? Marigold. Not a lot.
Hen.
Yeah, I'm wavering between C and D here. I'll put it at a C, I guess. Like it's fine. It's just small. It's just a small role. It's like, the mom again.
But I think
That
just a
mom,
reminder,
but still.
also for myself. Like I think the criteria was how well the character worked despite the, like the final product. So as a minor
but the
character,
final-
how would you rate her as a minor character?
I don't think we should normalize it for screen time, though. If the screen time is small and the character makes less of an impression for it, I mean that's something that we've faulted many of the D tier for. So I think it's.
But maybe
Very
she
unique.
made more of an impact during that short period than the others.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like for me, it
even
feels like with a lot of her time that she had, like I think every time she was doing something, I think she did quite a nice job actually. So that's why.
but it's still small.
That doesn't matter.
Farazan.
Farazan has much less screen time than she does,
That
and
is
he's
true.
in B tier. Also,
Yes.
I just wanna shout out in the chats. I don't know how to
Malva.
pronounce her name. Sorry. Yeah, Malva is the superior Harfoot. Yes, absolutely true. She should have been here, and she should have been top of B tier. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, there was
She
the
should have
other
been
one,
shot, but yeah. Okay.
And what was your letter grade?
Mine was C.
And Harry.
I'd be accent aside, because I still thought her accent wasn't the best.
I'm told it's not good by Irish people. I'm told it's not very good.
I would put her in the middle of C. That's where I'd put her.
Yeah, I would slot her, I think, right next to Muriel on either side would be fine.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, all right, I'm doing that. Wait a minute.
So let's continue to trim away at the Harfoots here with, let's go with Daddy. Let's go with Largo, aka Larjo, who's kind of large for a Harfoot, with that amazing speech that I know Hen loved at the end there. So Hen, let's kick it off with you. Where do you grade Largo?
That's actually a smaller role think of it, then this one Gobani one. Now I'm forgetting her name. It's not the character. I'm just tired. But Marigold. That's actually a smaller role Sadak is, I think, and he's mostly just kind of the, the upbeat father figure character thing. And then at the end, yeah, like it was okay-ish until that last couple of scenes, and then he had to make this really sugary speech and then turn to camera as he was saying it. It was like I don't know. It's like, yes, he did. It's a trick that some of the directors on this have used a couple of times. We'll get to when we talk about Halbrand. All of his scenes, his confrontations with Galadriel are all done to camera. But there's a reason it works in those scenes. And yeah, when you do something super like cloying and you look at the camera, it's a bad choice.
What was
I
your
don't
letter
like-
grade?
Right. I'll put him in a D, so one tier below his companion.
Harry, what do you grade Largo at?
I'd be fair. I agree with Hen. I can see him in D. I could put bottom of C could have worked as well, but I think D. Again, of course, he had those nice little lines, but yeah, it was like a ish character. People thought he might be the one who actually dies. So yeah, that is where I would put him.
So that's 2D. Strider, where you at?
Yeah, I'm like between C and D as well. Can we get back to me? I want to see other arguments.
Like Hithia?
My argument isn't particularly profound. I felt he was not very impactful in any sort of way, but I did like his presence. I did like the sort of a bit quirky but very, very loving father. I felt this was a really nice contrast to the dictator of a father that Elendil was, and a terrible father at that. So I would place him somewhere at top of C tier, I think.
Who's left?
And for me, I've got him also in the D tier, and obviously that's where he's going to wind up. So it's just a matter of where along the line on D tier he goes.
Oh, I think he's definitely above the Dweller.
I think we can put him like maybe next to Celebrimbor.
Underneath.
He's better than Cameron. Come on.
Oh yeah.
Put him after Celebrimbor. Let's say I'll say this as well.
I just thought it was poetic underneath what's her face, Marigold, but still, yeah, here would be fine.
So now let's move on to Harry, one of his favorites. Let's go on to Meteor Man, the Stranger, Daniel Wayman. Where do you rank that bad guy at?
A.
A tier for the Stranger.
I thought it was really good, his acting. I think it was one of the best acting of the show. And I really liked the relationship with thing. Whether, of course, story-wise, I did not like, of course, the... but I think that's more the whole plot line as opposed to, like, his character himself. If it's solely on his character, I think it worked quite well. For that season individually.
I'm wavering between a B and a C because the performance is very accomplished again. The character is like it's nice to watch and everything. At the same time, its function within the greater story is and could be, it already is, by the way, with the last line, with the follow your nose one that made me facepalm myself on air. But certainly going forward, it has a risk of being very, 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 very pandering. But
can I add something?
At the moment, I put it at a B.
Wait, can I add something quickly? I think the reason I put it A as well, when you're talking about how well it works story-wise, whether, you like general audiences, where you get general people talking about, even the people I spoke to, what to show, all they spoke about really was Stranger. Who's Stranger? I think in that regard, I think it worked. And I think that is why I put it A tier. It's one of the most successful storylines in that regard. It's what the general audiences, what people story-wise, they spoke about on this show. And that's one other reason why I put it in A.
Lakithia, what is your grade for Daniel Wayman as the Stranger?
Top of A tier for me. I think he was my favorite character. I think he was my favorite performance. Everything. Yes, I agree with the criticisms regarding him, the character being a little bit pandering. But I felt it really worked. It gave me all the fuzzies. I felt the chemistry between him and Nuri was amazing. The performance was absolutely amazing. He made me tear up several times, and it was a lot to do with the performance itself, but also the way he was written. I felt he was endearing, charming, just really, really great. So for me, top of A tier.
Strider, where do you
Yeah.
fall this line for the stranger?
I love that guy. He was absolutely amazing. He acted the hell out of it, given the fact that he didn't speak for half of the season, and then he basically actually spoke for real in the second half of the last episode. He was so good. He had so many nice moments where he turns towards Nori or something. He has like a very telling look on his face.
Mm.
He is definitely. I'm struggling to decide: do I like him or Adar more? Because they are very different characters in so many ways. Like the way they are brought to the screen, and like story-wise, they're like so different that it's hard to compare them. And I really liked both of them. So I don't know, like
I'll put him in
yeah,
the mid.
like easy A tier. I think Adar and I think Adar and Stranger are like on the same level.
And can I
Yeah.
just say he's responsible for possibly my favorite moment of the whole show when he went like, my great thumb, my great thumb. That was just so adorable. I absolutely loved it. So
No, folks, Halbrand has not been ranked yet. Been waiting to
Really-
get at
Where,
least-
where are we
I
putting
think
this guy on the
right in
A,
the
right?
middle between
In the
Adar
middle.
and Elrond, right in the
I
middle.
do. Elrond is my favorite character, though. I would say that is, but it's fine. With the group decides.
Yeah,
Elrond
group
is my
decides, but he's like
favorite,
my
yeah.
third favorite character. Maybe
I
so.
would say Adar. He is easily with Adar. Yeah, like that. Yeah.
So since we just finished with the stranger, let's
Yeah, we
now
did. We
go
put him.
with Nori, who look,
Mm,
I'm gonna be honest, Nori took me by surprise here, and she
little bit,
became a character I was very concerned about at the start of the show to being one of the characters I loved the most, actually. And I think for me, she has to be towards the top of the B tier, and I think she had many great moments. And like Lakithia was talking about, even for me, she had that moment with her father where she was like, I listened to everything, and she was able to like repeat back some of the phrases Largo had said, just stuff like that, and how she helped move the story along. To me, she's a top of the B tier type character. Harry,
A, I think. Generally, I think performance-wise, I think it was one of the biggest surprises. I think as a Harford,
yes.
but if you want to have one of Harford to work, I think that is how it worked best. It worked best through her, and I just think I think story-wise, and the thing I liked about the problem with this show that I had was that when you look at it, the world feels quite small.
Yes, very.
It feels like going from one place to another. I didn't like it when Galadriel
Yeah.
just rides one place to the next. Elrond thing, they're walking, but through the eyes of Nori, I through her understanding of what I want to learn more. It's what kept me grounded me and able to see that the world was bigger than it actually was. Which is why I'd put it at the bottom of A, but I do think it's A. But if we're gonna go top of B, I'll be fine with that too. But for my personally, I'd put bottom of A.
and tell me why she's an A tier character.
I'm struggling because it's like there's a lot of it that is A tier material. The performance, for one thing. Though these kinds of heart on sleeve, audience surrogate kind of characters are actually very difficult to play, and I think it's done very well here, actually, impressively well. At the same time, if there's one thing that demotes the characters, and this is apropos the cloying aspect of the Harfords, is that the whole Callow Youth kind of Bilbo Baggins, Luke Skywalker thing is laid on a little bit thick in that there are many lines across many episodes of, oh, I'm just a Harford, and
That was pretty good.
you know, there
That
are
was
a lot
very
of
good.
I don't do an Irish accent very well, but you know, there were a lot of those lines, like a ton of them, and it was like a little bit like, yeah, I get it, I get it, I get it, the young hero kind of thing. tried to read Joseph Campbell. I know. So it's like.
So where would you put it, Hen? Where would you put it?
I B.
So A and 2B. Strider, where are you at?
A and 2Bs. Well, I'm gonna spice it up. I'm also gonna say an A. I think she and Stranger had a really good chemistry. There were some moments I wasn't really super, like some little weird things, but overall I think she did a really good job, and I really liked the chemistry too. That ended up being one of my favorite parts of the show. Stranger and Nori on screen together. Yeah. And I liked that she starts off curious, and she's like open, like, let's see what's happening. Then she has this kind of fall disappointment. Okay, I'm just a Harwood. What did I think? What can I do? And so on. I like that she had those, variations or whatever. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think A. Not top A, definitely, but like bottom of A. I don't know who said that, but I would say bottom of A.
The swing vote goes to Lakitia. What's your take?
A tier. I felt that the way the character was written was a little bit worse by the end of the season. Beginning of the season, she was super strong. By the end of the season, with her whole, is the stranger evil after all? I felt that part of the plot line was a little bit, it made me eye roll a few times. But her as a character, she was really interesting to me. She was very unique also, and Ken might say that she was a little bit, I don't know, cloying or whatever, but I felt that as a character, she was fairly unique. And the performance just was top-notch from beginning to end, and absolutely a big surprise. Everybody groaned a little bit when the Harfoots were first announced to be a part of this show, but at least for me, her and Poppy made this storyline be extremely compelling, practically by virtue of their characters being as interesting as they were and their performances being as good as they were. So A tier for me.
All right, so she goes to A tier,
right? Yeah.
Yep. Moving
Here,
on.
we'll
Let's
get there.
who is, I can't see, who is next to Galadriel on the left?
Oh, that's Gandalf and also Saruman.
Oh, sorry. That one. These thumbnail ones I was doing as a test beforehand. They're both not meant to be in there. So
We
Yeah,
put
we
one
used one
as
of them for
Waldreg.
Valdreg. Yeah.
So then,
Yeah,
since,
one of them.
since I
was
mentioned
suspended.
her, let's move on to Galadriel.
no, wait. Can we
And-
save it to can we save it to the end? I think she's.
I think the
one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and she's the main character as well. So yeah,
She's
there's
not
a
the
lot-
main character. Let's move on to
Yeah.
the main character
Yeah.
during the fourth. Let's see what everybody thinks about the most amazing character on the show, and let's start with Lakitia.
Of course. I will say that for him, I would be between A and B. He starts off fairly strong. He has a few moments that I wasn't that convinced by. The performance, absolutely. I think his might be one of the two best performances of the show for me.
Very possibly, yeah.
All in all, I will say for me, I'm gonna have to put him top of B tier. Sorry, Barking.
But top of B tier is a good starting point. Strider, let's go ahead and raise that bar a little bit, and let's get your thoughts.
Okay, but I want to reserve the chance to ask you so I will be the person who asks you to give your opinion. Okay.
Yeah,
Wow. Shock. I'm
Okay.
such suspense.
So yeah, I loved Durin. Durin was awesome. He was, I think Matt from the Lord of the Rings used to. He said a few times he's like the heart of the show in many ways, and you can feel a lot of things that happen in that plot through his eyes. And I think his friendship with Elrond was easily one of the best possible elements of the show, one of the most successful elements of the show. They were so nice, so fun together. I like him with this as well. it was quite nice. But Elrond and Durin was probably the. It's so hard to choose because that's like a very different relationship between Nori and Stranger and Durin and Elrond. I'm not sure which one I would like more. But he was so fun. The humor was on point, but he nailed the emotional scenes, the rage with his father, the anger and the sadness, like when he knows he cannot help his friend, and the scene or him screaming like, my friend is drowning, he's asking me to help, but like I'm getting chills even now. Like that was so captivating. He was so great. And I cannot, like, he is also like, it's like the top of A tier as well. Like Adar, Stranger, and Durin, all three different characters, and three obviously very different actors. I can't choose which one is the best for me because they were all so great in what they were doing as characters. Yeah, I don't know. I really loved Durin. So, Warking, I hope that was a satisfying answer.
That was fantastic, and I appreciate honest reviews. You know, we don't always get that on this panel. You know, look at you. But
okay,
Hen.
just before I let Hen take it away, I have to say I just remembered the whose hands line, and I'm sorry,
Yes!
but that
Yes.
takes it up to A tier for me. That
Yes,
was
let's
pure
go.
perfection, and I cannot keep him in B tier. That was again one of my favorite moments and possibly the funniest moment in the whole show.
Yes, it is the funniest moment.
I'm sorry, A tier for me, Durin.
And once you're done drinking your apple juice, what is your ranking?
It's a beer, but yeah, it's an A. There are some aspects of Durin that are very much kind of, you know, dwarf, but it's done well. It's played like how did Robert Bolt say about what was it, like playing with his balls on his sleeve? It's that kind of performance, but it's done well. So yeah, it's
Harry.
Yo.
What's your rank for the best character on the show?
Oh, A.
Then I will close it out. We universally agree.
Varking?
Durin is an A, not just an A, but if we had the S tier up there, that would be him. Folks enjoyed the comedic aspects of it. I like how he outsmarted the elves and was able to take the table from the dinner meeting back home. The love he showed, not just to Disa, but to Elrond, and that bromance that they had, and then the anger, but also love that he had for his father, for his the kids when they're, I told you to stay out of my heads. All of the stuff that he's in is phenomenal. My biggest fear was that the show would be good and the dwarves would be the worst thing, and I would continue to have to read online about how the dwarves are just a total joke in everything that they've been in. And to their credit, I was told multiple times, just watch and enjoy, and we've got you. And after watching it, like Durin to me can almost do no wrong at this point. Everything he's in was clutch. Everything had emotion to it or comedy to it. None of it seems stupid to me. I mean, just he's the best character on the show, and to me, he should be easily in front of Adar for the front of A tier because he is an S tier character.
I would put him bottom of A tier. Absolutely
I
behind
would.
Nori.
I put him below.
I don't know. I put him below Elrond as well. Yeah. I'm sorry, but Elrond is just
he is not below Elrond.
Much more of a major character.
I agree that he elevates Elrond. I would keep so it would be Adar and Stranger, then Durin, then Elrond, then Nori.
Elrond loses points because he has moments with Galadriel, who we'll hold off on.
Well,
let's do Halbrand next.
Well, it's 3-2 though, isn't it? For 3 of us said below Elrond, 2 said above Elrond.
Yeah, but you don't know what you're doing, so.
Yeah, but you guys don't know dwarves.
Well, democracy.
I know dwarves.
I would take him down 2 points, so absolutely below Elrond is the consensus.
And swap the. Okay, which we do Halbrand next before we move on to Galadriel.
We should.
No, we should just stop here after that travesty of a democracy.
Yeah, like
let's
doesn't
go ahead
make
and
sense
move
anymore.
on to Halbrand, aka Sauron. Spoilers for those who haven't seen the show here on a tier list.
Can we base on Halbrand being Halbrand and not necessarily, or how are we going to do this? Because I think Halbrand being Halbrand and Halbrand being Sauron is two different things in a way.
In
But
a way,
I think
yes.
we need to take everything into consideration because that was his season 1 arc.
Yes.
I think if we just judge him by being Halbrand, the result would be a little bit different than if we take the whole thing into consideration. I don't know.
Yes, I agree. No, but you're right. Like it's like, let's be real. Like he's 90% Halbrand, and then at the end there's like a 10% Sauron jump, like in
Well,
there.
then all together, and I'll put him at the bottom of A tier because I thought Halbrand as Halbrand was so like, I don't know if you sound to his blandness, but I think, for example, that part where he was like when he's in Numenor, I thought he was quite funny. But then for the Sauron part, the best part season for me is when he was with Celebrimbor in the thing. But I would be fine if it was top of B or low A.
And what do you think about Halbrand?
I'm at an impasse because the Halbrand stuff of it is pretty well, actually, in spite of being, Halbrand being a kind of Aragorn type. So there's a kind of a demoting factor to the Halbrand aspect of it. But also when he's Sauron, on the one hand really cool, on the other hand, confrontation is bad, and all the pseudoscience around the creation of the rings is terrible. So I don't know, I'll put it in a B, even though I feel like it's a very good performance. It's done very well. But and I personally think that Sauron should present a little older. But that's like a pet peeve, but still. But yeah.
Lakitia, what do you
towards
think
the top
about
B.
sexy Sauron?
Okay, like Ken said, the reveal itself for me was awful, and him in the reveal also I did not care for one bit. But all in all, I will say bottom of A tier for me. I think his was the performance. I didn't even think about the performance at all throughout the show because it was just good. It was consistently excellent in my opinion. Ooh, my camera went off. I felt the performance was excellent throughout it all. I don't particularly like his storyline itself.
Yes.
But the character itself, I felt it was great. So bottom of A tier for me.
He's an A tier character for me. I wanted to, especially knowing all the leaks and rumors about him, I wanted to dislike his character from the jump. I don't know why, but I just didn't want to like it. And despite that, it was like almost everything he was in throughout the season just made me like and enjoy his character more and more and more. And for me, he would be, I'd put him above Nori, but he's not. He's not Durin. So that's where I stand. He is an A tier character.
Yeah, for me, I think like Kitty made a really good point. I really felt that comment about him just being consistently good.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't think about the problem. He was like Halbrand of the Southlands. He had like everything. Like he had. I was really hoping he would not be Sauron for so many reasons, but he was fun, interesting, mysterious. Yeah, okay, sure, he was played kind of like an Aragorn type, but I think that doesn't take away from his character. It takes away from the storyline they were doing with that. Like, it was obviously a part of his character, but it's just a very bad part of the storyline. It doesn't take away from the performance. He was fun.
I do think that the storyline in which the characters kind of work should come to bear on the rating, but
Yeah, but I think for me he's an exception. I think he was very fun, and the reveal that episode had, like the final episode had a lot of problems, a lot of issues. I don't have problems with, pseudoscience, because I don't think it was necessarily pseudoscience. There had to be some science of it,
Yeah, it's
because
inevitable.
whatever.
It's inevitable.
So I didn't have. Yeah, I didn't have a problem with it. I think Halbrand was great as Halbrand. As Sauron, it's another thing, but I still like the reveal. I don't know. Like I think we have the problem of the fact that we all talked about it for weeks. We went into details and so on. So I think he worked very well the reveal for most regular people, like the people who, like, because I talked to a few people who didn't read the books. Some of them didn't even watch the movies. That this was their first encounter with Tolkien and with Middle Earth, and they really liked the reveal. They were like, "What the hell just happened?" And even for me, I let myself enjoy the scene of the reveal, and I really did. I liked, like, he morphed for me in like 5 seconds. He was like, okay, he went from Halbrand to Sauron like this. I enjoyed it. He is definitely an A tier for me as well. Not top, but
I think when I'm saying the reveal, I don't want to speak for Lakidia. She can say, she agrees, but I'm not talking about necessarily the surprise, oh, he's Sauron, although that aspect of it, we can talk about that as well, but I'm talking more the confrontation and them on the raft and, oh, Galadriel, you're so lovely, and, all of those aspects of it, that.
He was not doing that. Even though you keep saying that, he was not doing that.
He was, but yeah.
So where are we placing him on the A tier list?
The bottom.
I would say above Nori for me.
No, absolutely.
No, I don't
below
think
Nori.
so. But who says above Nori?
Only me, so.
Below it is.
I agreed with you, but the democracy said below. So moving on to the final character here, Galadriel, and I'm sure that this is going to cause a little bit of wide-ranging opinions, and I'd like to start with Hen.
I don't know. She's, I think, unquestionably the main character of the season. Just that has to be clear. She moves. She has the most screen time by far. She has like twice as much as the next character.
She connects almost all other stories.
Almost all, and she's the one that, in a way, at least moves stuff, at least on paper, because a lot of the stuff that she does move, she gets help from a Deus Ex Machina to some extent. And that's kind of, I guess, where I struggle with this, because it's the anger is played up a little too much too early. That's, I think, the main thing, and it's just it just clouds her judgment. Is allowed to cloud her judgment way too much, and ultimately, in terms of what she does, she convinces Numenor to set out and fight for the Southlands, except not really, because the tree does it. And then they go to fight for the Southlands, and they basically fail. And then she finds out that she's basically stoked Sauron's ambitions, and it's like, wow, successful. And like, if it was Greek tragedy and Galadriel was a tragic character, then her failing would make all the sense in the world. But it's not, of course. She's not gonna die. So yeah, but it's not, at the same time, I think a lot of the fan community, I see this a lot, is being way too harsh on Galadriel, because at the same time, I do think a lot of the time, except the angry beats, it's played very well. Especially when she's holding back anger, I think that's done very well. And it's she has reasons to be angry. It's a very, in a way, a very interesting character flaw. Like, it's interesting, but at the same time, it's a little bit overbearing. And so, I don't know. I'm thinking actually a C. Actually.
And Lakitia, where would you rank Galadriel?
I think I'm quite happy with C, mainly because she absolutely wasn't amazing for me. Some parts of the character worked really well, and I think the casting was actually quite good. I think Morvith Clark did a good job. She didn't blow me out of the water, and at some parts I felt the acting was a little, weaker. But I certainly, I think a big part of why I didn't like the character is that my sound going crazy.
I don't think so.
It's okay. It's okay.
All right.
Yeah.
I think a big part of why I didn't like her as a whole was that she felt very different from what I expected her to be. And that's not just the fact that I compared her with the late Third Age Galadriel. It's more so that I compared her with, I thought, Galadriel ought to be. So that's a very, very subjective reason. But objectively
That's a good
speaking, I
point,
think
though.
she was somewhere middle of the road, and yeah, C tier for me.
Wow. Okay.
Can I go next after Leave?
Yeah.
Quickly? I'd put her bottom of C personally. I think after episode 7 we did kind of see that nature where there is a possibility for her being good, and the benefit of the doubt I'm given is that they are trying to go for like a arc whereby near the end she, like as I said, I just think
Yes.
that period where it's like, for me, like people said, when you spend so much time in Melly and the Maya, when you spend being in the Hall of Dingle, it's hard to then see how she acts. But what I'm understanding is that how they're basing off is the war. A war has happened, and none that's really happened. She hasn't had that knowledge yet, and she has to learn that throughout the show. But yeah, where she acted well, more for the car, I think she wasn't too bad. No, sometimes she did a thing when before she got angry, she did like that. I thought
Oh,
that
a
was
little
a
bit of
bit,
squinting. Yeah.
like you what, and except from that, I think she was a fine Galadriel, and I think wasn't, I think, goes down to writing. It was not where how I would have approached it. I didn't think it worked off the best on screen, but that's why I leave it bottom of C tier. Thank you guys all. Thanks to the chat. I'll see you guys
Bye,
in a
boss.
bit.
See you, Harry. Thanks for
Bye,
joining
man.
us.
See you.
This was
Strider, where you at on Galadriel?
Actually, I would like to ask you for your opinion, and because you took away the chance to ask you for Turin, give me the meat and give it to me raw.
My raw meat for Galadriel says that
that sounded so wrong.
Yeah, it
it
did. It did.
pause.
Very.
So I have two grades for her. One, I
So
think
did Harry's,
I
but
think
still.
she's a B tier in the show. I think she'd be at the very bottom of B tier. I think her character had a lot of growth as the season went along, and the turning point was kind of when she finally met up with Theo. And then from that point forward, I felt like she was kind of a different character than what she was at the beginning. From a standpoint of online conversation, holy Jesus, she was an E, because even in the comments in our chat right now, there are so many people hyped up about disliking her character and how nothing about the character is right. Everything is wrong. Burn it all down. Wrong actor. Wrong way to write. That it's maddening online to read about Galadriel. But from I think she was a B in the show. Strider,
Yeah.
Yeah, so I agree with a lot of things that you just said. I think she's definitely a very complicated sorry, she's a very complicated character to rank because there's so many things to consider, like her in lore. Well, I mean, what Harry said, like she spent so much time with Meliana. She has been around for such a long time. She has, like that. There's a reason why she gets the ring. So to have her like that at the start of the season, it just felt so weird. And then again, it's understandable because obviously she's the main. If she's supposed to be the main character, she needs a character arc. We need to have a starting point and then a very different end point, and we know that what that end point needs to be. We know who she is in the third age, and we know even who she is in the second age. But okay, so we know the end point, so it needs to be something very different compared to that. So in theory, I can understand the reasons for making her a warrior. I can see why they would want to go for that. I can see why they would go for this anger, pent-up anger, dark place in which she is. I think the writing did not do her justice. I think the writing didn't do her justice because maybe this could have worked. Like we had some significant character changes in Peter Jackson's movies that worked because of the writing. Of course, they had the advantage of having actual books with the dialogue and everything, so they could make some bigger changes to the character, but still lean onto the writing that was obviously strong because Tolkien wrote it like that. So they had that advantage, and the showrunners didn't have this advantage with this Galadriel. So versus when we compare her to lore, it's strange. It doesn't work in so many ways with the lore, but the casting, I think, was absolutely great. I really, really liked what Morphe did. I think she managed to take a lot of bad stuff in that storyline, a lot of bad stuff in her specific character writing, and to do good stuff with it. So I think she was an amazing Galadriel. Even in the first episode, I was absolutely stunned by her because I saw Morphe Thark and she's gorgeous and cute and she looks really nice in real life. But I think they really made her look like Galadriel in the show. I think she felt like, I think her voice in the she really hooked me with her appearance, the way she sounded and she looked in the first 1 or 2 episodes, like in her scenes with Elrond in the evening, in that with those statues in the trees. I think there she looked so like Galadriel. I was really, really amazed. She really felt like it. But then she has those dumb scenes, like the middle point of the show was very weak in for many characters, for many storylines. They all kind of fall through. Like Ellen just starts off strongly and then he falls in the middle, and then yeah. So I think she saved a lot of bad stuff in that character. So I would actually give her, purely on the quality of the actress herself, a B, because I think Galadriel had so many problems as a character, the way she was written, the way storyline worked, but actress nailed it in my opinion. So she lifts it to a B for me, but purely on the basis of the actress. The character was low C or whatever, but I give her a B.
Just to speak to the point you both mentioned of, not she's not what you expected, both you and Lakitia. I saw what was the common piss and vinegar Galadriel that they talked about.
Mhm.
And I was
Yeah.
super ready. I was like, okay, that's interesting, because you look at so many classic characters that we think of as very complex, and the way in which they are complex is that their psyche is messed up. So I don't know, like Hamlet is schizophrenic, and Lear is dementive, and Tristan is suicidal, and all of these. And so I was super ready for a PTSD Galadriel, but it was just not done well.
Yeah, I think this is my main issue. The way she behaved in Numenor, it wasn't the fact that she's, I don't know, temperamental or fiery or whatever. She was acting like this very, very inexperienced, petulant teenager. That was
Yes.
my main issue with her, not the fact that she was more angsty or more, I don't know, like I said, temperamental, but just the fact that it was written in a way that was a little bit inconsistent, in my opinion, and it didn't work for me. And I will have to say that mostly I liked the acting, but there were some scenes where I felt it was very, very weak. Especially, for some reason, I really disliked the final confrontation that she had with Halbrand. Just before she like, just as she realizes she did something weird with her face. I don't know what it was, but it felt like, I don't know, so over the top for me. So yeah,
Yeah,
all in all,
same kind of.
yeah.
I think why I also again, sorry, I want to say that I'm so sorry, like for her and for, of course, for many people, for many actors in the show who had so many problems with the internet community. Like, I've seen so many people post screenshots of her, being like that, making that angry face. But how can that be an argument? Like, you can take anyone, like literally anyone, like whoever the person in question who posts the screenshot, whoever they think is the prettiest or most charismatic person ever, if you take a video and you stop it randomly,
absolutely
you're gonna
fine.
catch
You
a
can
dumb
find-
face.
You can
And
find
that
those
was-
unflattering frames of
That was
everybody.
yes, that was so awful. And I think, like, I of all the characters, of all the actors that got flamed by the internet, I really am sorry for her the most.
Yes.
Again, because she killed it with, like, she was I think she was really, really amazing with what she had, the material she had, and to see so much anger towards the actress and like to her looks and to all that was so annoying. I was disappointed in so many people's opinions of people I know that hate on that. Like, how can you? No, that was so bad. So I really hope
it's below the belt. Yeah.
I really hope that she gets proper writing in the second season for whoever's going to be doing the same showrunners are doing it the second season. Like there were mentions of maybe changing the scripts or script writers or whatever in future seasons, whatever. I really, really hope that she gets better writing because she was amazing. She looks like she felt like Galadriel in so many ways. Like she nailed the voice. Again, it falls down in the middle point where whatever happens, but she really hooked me for the first moment when I saw her. She hooked me as Galadriel in every sense. I really, really hope she gets better stuff to do because she was really cool. And also with Theo, I think she showed us a bit more and all that. But yeah, like
that is a good point.
The internet was dumb in so many ways. So hopefully she gets way more justice in future years.
That is a good point, though, that regardless of whether she's still going to be PTSD Galadriel or not, she's certainly going to keep on being warrior Galadriel. This we know from an article about, they had fittings with her, with a sword and stuff and a bandolier this time. So definitely.
So where are we dropping her in the tier list?
I think we average a C, don't we?
Is she at the top of C? Is she bottom of B?
Oh, I don't know.
She's at least top of C. I would put her top, like just for the sake of this. Okay, so I know we said like 3 C's and 2 B's.
That hurts.
I think she was better. Like for me, she felt like a more fun character. Like if we take aside the lore, like if her name wasn't Galadriel, I think people would be much more favorable towards her performance. So I think for me, she was a more compelling character than like Sadak. Like I didn't care about him as much as I cared about her, despite all the problems I had. So if it's possible to get her to at least the bottom of B, or maybe in front of Sadak, I think that would for me be great.
And 2 B's, so I don't think that results in B tier.
Well, maybe somebody changes their opinion. That's my point. But yeah, she's at least top of C. That's what I mean.
Yeah, it hurts my dwarvishness, but if we all agree top of C, do we?
I'm fine top of C, but absolutely not B. For me.
It hurts my dwarvishness, but yeah. No, I get it. She's not, beyond Aaron here for crying out loud. But yeah, I get it.
Yeah. Wow, we have a very, very equal.
How? What?
This is really awesome, actually. I did not expect this to happen.
Yeah, very impressive.
Yeah, me neither.
Valdreg is the one to thank for that, I think.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it is.
Are you guys happy with our with the way the tier list looks?
Yeah, so we said we would like to maybe switch out a bit. Do we want to maybe just go quickly through tier by tier?
I just have to say up front that for me, having Kamen be quite higher than Bronwyn is super weird. That's the one choice that I'm feeling a little bit weird about, but I was overruled, so I accept it.
I think that quite a few people, not quite a few, but I think that, the Dweller, I had to until you said which one it was, I forgot. 3, and it could have been, you could have thrown it in the air. It doesn't matter, which goes to show. So I think this is an E material, so I do, this stuff is dissonant for me as well, yeah.
Wait, so who is this after Kamen?
After
it's
Kamen,
Theo.
that would be Theo.
That's Theo? That's
Yes,
a weird phone. Yeah, okay.
Yes,
yeah.
some of the frames are weird because they're small and dark.
Yeah, so maybe let's go from just comment in the tier. Let's just maybe go quickly over them. So
yeah, let's start with A, I think.
No. Let's keep A for the end. So I think E doesn't really matter that much. Whatever.
Yeah, Gil would definitely be behind Bronwyn. I'd even put him
Yeah.
here if I were putting him in the E.
I don't care about heat, so whatever.
Yeah.
Barking, what do you think?
I think E is fine where it's at.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
D.
So D.
Okay, for me, having Theo lower than Cameron, I don't understand this again.
Yeah, for me, I would be fine with switching that.
Barking.
No, I think that's accurate. That Theo should be above Kevin.
That's
Okay.
3-1 though. So above.
No,
yeah,
the Theo should be Then
Yeah,
okay.
Theo above. Yeah.
Otherwise, I
This
think
is
it
fine.
looks
I think. Yeah.
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 Pretty okay. Okay. So C.
Yeah.
I think I would switch out Arian and Celebrimbor perhaps, but I'm fine with them being as they
Yeah, I was also thinking about that. Maybe but I mean, he did have more
Barking
things to
won't,
do.
yeah.
Like I really liked the potential of her character, but we saw more of him, and he did
Yeah,
have some cool
especially-
stuff. So
Yeah.
I think it makes sense.
Yeah. At the same time, if we're getting the sack of a Region, or possibly even the Guathlo as the finale of the next season, Celebrimbor doesn't have a lot of more time to shine, and I feel like Arian might have more. Far in the future, I don't think we can. It's just an aside. So where are we putting those?
So
I
do
would
Flipping
Okay.
them. Celebrimbor
Yeah.
at the top of it.
Agree. Okay, C.
wait. We didn't manage that. Celebrimbor at the top of
Sorry.
There we
Sorry.
There we go. Perfect.
Sorry,
Thank you.
my brain doesn't work now.
It's
Well-
okay.
Where
so
are we?
C ranking.
I'm fine with Galadriel being here. I'm fine with Durin being here. Anybody disagree?
I think
it's
this is
okay.
all right.
No, I actually
Yeah.
like the C tier.
I
Yeah.
would actually switch Muriel and Theo, I think, but that's just me.
And Isildur, you mean? Right?
No, I meant Theo. I don't like Muriel as a character.
Put her back.
Interesting. Yeah.
We're just
yeah.
working within the tier. Within the tier.
Yeah. Within the tier, I get it because I did think about switching.
No, what?
I liked Muriel. You know.
Yeah.
I like
So
the result.
do we keep it like this then? Like Isildur then Muriel?
Yeah, I would for sure keep Isildur in front of Muriel.
Okay,
Yeah,
and
I
think
agree.
Marigold should be in front of Arondir.
Yeah, I'm
I
fine with
would
that.
I would actually switch them out.
Okay.
But yeah, Walking, what do you think?
Oh,
I
Vaki
think they're
liked
okay
Arondir.
with where they're at. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
okay with
sure. Okay.
Okay. So how far up are we bumping Wardreg? Because come on.
I mean, for me, I'm still placing Elendil in C tier. So for me, Elendil is way too high up.
So we're doing this, presumably? What is
I
everybody
would-
thinking? That's Wardreg, right?
Yeah.
Where are we? How is everybody feeling about this?
I wouldn't do that.
Here, maybe? Or we can
Like,
keep it
I
the
mean,
same.
Valdreg is not higher than Farazon. So maybe we can put Farazon,
Yeah.
Elendil, Valdreg. Maybe like that.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
that's
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, Vakin.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Okay, so
So
like
that
this.
goes like this.
Yes, perfect.
Then like this.
Nope.
Good.
No. Yeah, perfect.
No. Yes.
Valdreg is
Right.
behind Elendil.
No, Valdreg is not behind Elendil.
How are we
Yeah,
going
but-
about?
We're gonna fight.
Oh, Strider, you should look out.
I'm staying with my boy Elendil. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not stepping away from that. Like, he was let down as all of them in the middle of the season, sure, but I think he was a good Elendil.
I just need to point out something that people are saying in the chat, that obviously we have forgotten one very important character, and that's Cauron. And Cauron would naturally be top of A tier. But
Yeah,
you
that's
know.
just like out of competitions. Like the S tier, that's why we didn't put here. So
That's right. That's right.
people come on.
Also Beric.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're both of them. They're both S tier. True.
Okay, I would absolutely put Poppy above Disa, but I understand I'm in minority here.
No, I'm gonna agree.
No,
I think I'm gonna agree.
Yeah, because she had like two scenes where she hit higher emotional levels in me than this. Like this was awesome. She was fun. She was great. But Poppy Gay was the most, or like one of like 2 or 3 most Tolkienian moments in the show. Like the singing, that whole scene of her singing, and the whole traveling montage and everything. That was absolute gold. Even Mithril, so to appease working with a dwarven reference. And you know the scene we talked about it, like the emotional scene when we learn about her family. I think she goes
It's
top
less,
for me.
whereas Disa is 90% of the time just very matronly.
She was awesome, but just didn't have that many things.
Yeah,
diverse things to do. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Disa is A, very matronly, and B, she actually, just thinking about it, she doesn't actually do anything really.
Yeah, but to soothe Varking's pain a little bit, Varking, I know this one hurts, but regardless of that, on average, the dwarves are still the highest ranked race, as far as I can gather.
As they should be.
So let's change Poppy and Disa now.
Yeah.
Okay, I agree.
All right, A
tier. I would put Elrond here personally, but that's not what we're going with.
And I'd put Durin in front of Elrond for sure.
I would agree with, because I think Varking had a good argument that Elrond is hurt by the fact that he's a part of some very dumb scenes and stupid choices and like storylines, like the whole tree, Silmaril, Balrog, elf thing scandal was. I'm so sorry. We actually commented on it. He does an amazing job delivering the lines that it's like you can kind of see that the actor is like, oh my god, why am I doing? Why do I have to say this? But he says it, and I really respect him for it. And I think the actor manages to pull that off. So that's like, I guess, an argument for him being a really good. I mean, he is a really good actor. I think he was good, but he was a part of those bad things while Durin didn't have those.
That's a very good point.
I would
put Durin higher than Elrond. For me, actually, both of these characters are B tier, but I would rank Durin higher. I mean, no, because I did change my mind earlier and put Durin in A tier, and for Elrond I was B tier. So yeah, absolutely Durin higher than Elrond.
Okay, cool. I would leave Adar and the Stranger on the top. I don't really care which one is like on the top, but I think they were both really amazing. Maybe slight advantage to Bayman because he didn't talk, but again, Adar had like less screen time, and he did a lot of good stuff with that. So I'm fine either way.
The one thing that makes me put Meteor Man on top is that I'm not the easiest about putting the villain at the top slot, you know? And Adar is the villain more so than Sauron.
True, okay, sure. But Varking, what do you think?
I don't see Adar as a villain. He just wants a place for his people, and that's why he's number one.
So do terrorist bombers, you know? Like it's
Wow.
I mean, they do.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, he did, kind of terrorist bomb Mordor in some way, so
and killed a lot of people and enslaved.
Yeah, but still, like as a character, whatever. So, Markin, what do you think? Who is like Wayman or
the best character on the show outside of Durin?
Okay. So, does anyone mind leaving Adar on the top?
No, I'm actually fine with that. And I'll also say that I know that this was our tier list, but I think that Adar was the one character whose reception was consistently excellent. Everybody loved him, so I feel that's fair to leave him there.
Yeah. He's probably going to die in the next season, so we can give him this.
I think so, yes.
And we have the final part of A tiers. So we have Halbrand, aka
I'm fine with
Sauron,
this.
and Nori.
I'm fine with this. I'm fine with
I would
Nori having
still-
Halbrand.
I would 1000% switch both of these two before Durin and Elrond,
Hmm.
but
But keep the same order.
keep the same order, but put them higher. But I know I'm in minority, so
So wait, would you switch Halbrand and Nori?
no,
No, she
I would
wants
keep them in this
Yeah, but
order,
then
but
switch
I
them
would
with
put
the
she wants
That's
them
right.
here basically.
yeah. But I know that I'm the only one, so that's fine.
Yeah.
I
So
would
we're
maybe
fine
even
with this
put.
order,
I
right?
will maybe even put Halbrand above Nori, but I'm not
I
sure.
don't-
Like
Again, it's one of these cases where the villainous aspect of it gets in the way of it for me. Whereas
actually
Nori's
no,
less
I don't even. I'm not even thinking about the Sauron part. Like that's like an extra for me. I really like Halbrand. I really like Halbrand. Like if we look at like the 7 episodes, I really like the character.
I get it. Yeah.
But then again, I really like Nori as well, so I'm kind of fine with this. Larkin, what's your opinion on this?
Yeah, I think all the dwarves are rated too lowly, but I think we settled on a nice little spot for the time being.
Yeah, okay. Then
All right,
shall we leave it like this?
This is the official ranking of Fellowship of Fans for the first season of Rings of Power. How about that?
Wow.
2 hours and a half in, we managed to rank them all in
Yeah,
a way that we mostly feel quite satisfied. Like I said, I'm not happy with a few characters, but mostly,
Yeah.
Oh, me neither. Me neither.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I think that this was a fun discussion to think, and thank you everyone
Yeah.
for the comments. There was some really good ones. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
It was fun, I think, and hopefully all of them will have better material in future seasons, because I think for almost all the characters we said that. And I think most of us felt that they were let down by the storylines and the material that they were given, especially in the middle part of the season. I think a lot of them, like some of them, started very strongly, and then just fell down. So
Yeah.
I agree.
Well, I just want to say thank you to the audience for sticking with us through 2.5 hours of going over as
seriously.
we build this tier list. We didn't do this beforehand. We've just been doing it on the fly. Thank you, Fellowship, for swinging in for a little bit during the middle there. And then just thank you to you 3 S-tier panelists who have been here with me for the last 2.5 hours. It's been a long time since we've been able to do a video like this. And let's make the next one not so far apart. And try to do more stuff more frequently. And I appreciate all of you guys.
And thank you for being a really, really excellent mithril tier media. What's the word?
Yeah.
Presenter,
host.
media host. Thank you. Yes, I'm not working today. Seriously. Yeah,
And I just want to say we have lots of really interesting stuff coming up with Fellowship of Fans, so people stay tuned. We have some of the old favorites making their big return to our weekly schedules, so we'll keep you posted, and we'll see you back hopefully for our next live stream.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, if you want to keep up with whatever we're doing, follow us on more leaks. I think we kind of went over an elven character in one of our recent videos that had been found on the internet, and we knew who the actor was. We narrowed it down that it was an elf, and I don't know if we released the name or not yet. But follow us on Twitter, where we're not paying for blue, so you won't see a check mark next to our name. But follow us there anyway, and just appreciate all you folks for tuning in. We'll catch up with you guys on Twitter, YouTube, Discord, all the usual places you normally find us. That's it for me, and I hope everybody has a great, wonderful rest of their weekend. And a big shout out to Hen for being the behind the scenes of this and getting us all set up today.
Exactly. Thank you very much for that. Thank you all.
Have a good night.
Have a good night. See you.
Bye.